be joining us with more, because he's been touring the country. He's been going around the country and has been finding out more about illegal mining. But I know there are many of you who are also concerned about, the effect on our reproductive system. And this morning, Professor Dr. Paul Poku Sampede, who's a professor in forensics and histopathology, KNUST School of Medicine and Dentistry, will be joining us shortly via Zoom. But let me start off with you, Erastus Asare Donkor. Thank you very much for joining us, Erastus. And you've been going around the country. We're talking about drinking with suspicion and how water bodies are polluted, Erastus. Tell us what you've seen in your latest rounds as you monitor the fight against illegal mining.
Well, I'm seeing worse situations. And in some areas where we saw pollution of the Ankobra, for example, now you see the water getting more thicker. You see the drying up of the banks of the rivers, especially the tunnel. We are just from the tunnel we went there about 3 weeks ago. We are still seeing the same situations we found when we did Poison for Gold and Distraction for Gold. There are some Chinese miners lined along the Tunnel River at Samreboy who are currently pitched their washing bays along the tunnel, and they are washing residue directly into the tunnel. Even as we speak, they are there. You go to Pristia, under the bridge, there are adjoining streams where people are sitting on it with champagne machines, a number of them polluting it from that end. All the places we visited from the estuary, remember we rode on the Ankobra for 4 hours. The places we found mining directly on the river at Douale, Awolenzo, Banso, Dominase, we are still seeing a lot of mining directly on the riverbed. When you go to the Brim in the eastern region, at Usino, where we flew the drone recently, we found a lot of champagne machines sitting on the Brim at various points. Let's talk about the Pra. At Chifo Praso, there are miners who are there, some of them with champagne machines on the river itself. At Chifo Kotochi, Chifo Etimokwa, Old Town, there are people who are still mining along the Pra and are directly washing their residue into the Pra River. And that's how come you see it, the turbidity, according to the Ghana Water Company, is still going up, because you could see the water getting thicker and the banks almost drying up at certain points. And so almost every place that we went this time around is worse. And the impunity now is deeper, because now people don't really care. Previously, at a point in time, you find security agencies rounding them up, so there is some restraint. But now they go all out. The offin at Abumpi, Abesia, the farmers have been protesting. Now the river is almost drying up. The Offin River is almost drying up along that chain at Donkor. Champagne machines are on it. In the Achumampunua area, champagne machines, a lot of them are sitting on it. It's almost like a normal thing now. People do it with impunity, even close to police barriers, and they don't really care. Now we are also seeing mining along major roads. So all the Wasa towns, you find a lot of mining along the main road. In fact, at Wasada DSO and Japa, we thought that it's a Galamsey town, because the huge pits in the town itself, the excavators that are big.
Erastus, yeah. Before we go to the roads, get back to the water bodies. You've been telling us about the tunnel. You've told us about the Pra, the Ankobra. You've told us about the Brim and the Offin. Now, these areas, when you go there, I'm sure you probably may have engaged one or two persons. What do they tell you when you tell them that what they're doing is illegal?
In one of my recent reports, I think last week, when we were asking the people and we're educating them about the presence of heavy metals in the water. One of them told me, no, they don't think that's the case. As for them, there are no poisonous metals in where they are working. They even told me that there are people who have been mining and are now over 100 years old. They are still alive. They are not dead. So to them, there is no disease associated with what they are doing. They don't see anything wrong with it. In fact, when I was at Wasakupong, the river Asare is so polluted, and you find children bathing in it. And when you try to explain to mothers that the children will have problems, they said, oh, they've been swimming for a very long time and they don't really experience any disease or anything, so they think they are okay. And many of these disease connections, they don't happen in a day. They take time. They bioaccumulate in your system, sometimes 10 years, depending on your body's resistance or make. It takes a long time for it to manifest in liver disease or kidney-related ailments or tremors or other things. And so the people are not able to connect the effect to what we are talking about as the public health issues. And that's the challenge.
Let's talk about the Ankobra areas and the Pra areas where you visited. Tell us what you...
In fact, with the Pra, from Chufukotochi, in fact, this gentleman that we met in the forest, he doesn't see anything wrong with mining because he thinks there are no jobs and the people in the town need to survive. And so he's sitting directly at the edge of the Pra, and whatever he pumps the water from the Pra, use it to wash, and then he has created a link that the residue goes back into the Pra River. And he's doing that in the new town, the Timokwa new town, and the old town as well. When you go to Chifo Praso and its environs, the Sanfan machines are there, sitting on it at various points, and you see the water has been filtered to a point that even if you're using a boat or canoe or something, you run the risk of toppling over. And the color of the water, the heaviness, when you feel it, is way worse than when we went there, when we were filming Poison for Gold in 2023. And so it's getting worse and worse and worse. When we went to Dabwase, previously, when we went there, the turbidity was not as bad as when we went there recently, and you could feel it. When you pour the water in your hands, you could feel the heaviness of it at that point. Let me also go to the Butre River,
sure,
where we found quite a shocking revelation there. In fact, the people there do not have alternate sources of water. They have wells, but some of the wells are drying up, and the boreholes are not too many at the Wusiju. And so they fetch the water, the highly polluted water from the Butre, and they buy aluminum sulfate, alum. They mix it, let it settle. Some of them use it to cook. Some of them use it to wash utensils, and some of them use it to bath. And they don't know the amount, the concentration that they should add to the water. And so many of them use more than necessary, and you find rashes, skin rashes on the children and the people who use it to bath. To me, that was really telling. We found the same thing at Trebwanda, close to the Pra River. The women there, so they sell alum like you're buying tomatoes from the market. 1 cedi per a small, quantity of it. And that is what the women use. In fact, we have seen videos that people have sent us from the Elubo, where the women use the water that they use aluminum sulfate to settle. They use it to make atake for the food market. Yes, and the videos are all over. The women explaining it, how they fetch the water in drums and they pour 10 cedis worth of aluminium sulfate into the drums and they allow it to settle. And to their mind, they think that when it settles, everything has settled, the suspended particles. And so they can use it to cook. And that's what they use it to cook acheke in commercial quantities for the food market. And so all along, I can say that there are people who know the effect of the polluted water. There are people who do not know. And even when you tell them, they cannot assign a reasonable line to what you're telling them. Remember, we have been doing this Poison for Gold community tour.
Yeah.
The last time we were at Huntabe, Dinyasi Huntabe, and the Oda River has been so polluted. There are some fan machines sitting on it at every point. When we finished the program, the people who came to us said, well, we are shocked. But unfortunately, there are people in the community who think that the diseases they are experiencing here in the town is superstition. Some witches. If you require trauma, we bought the disease for you. So this thing you're talking about, people will still go back to do whatever they want to do. So that is the situation. Asare Boy is so crazy that close to the bridge, at the Tama River, close to the bridge, you have somebody who is mining and washing large amounts of mining residue into the river, and they don't care. And that water is what the company in town is pumping and treating for the people all in the whole town.
Now, Erastus, these people you tell us are mining openly. So where are the security agencies? They haven't seen them?
You see, that is the problem. Everybody has gone on holiday. Even at Japa, where they are mining close to the main road with huge pits and all that, it's close to a police barrier where they are mounting road checks. We filmed it. They are minding their own business, doing their road checks, and the crime, nature crime, is going on right in front of their noses. Nothing is happening. In fact, in some cases, the people who stood up at Abesu are the farmers. They use the river Ofin to cultivate pepper, tomatoes, and garden eggs. Now they say they cannot farm. And they went to the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother said, if you cannot stay in the town, pack your things and leave. And so they took the law into their own hands and fought the champagne operators. And instead of the police to arrest the champagne operators, they arrested the farmers. Some of them spent 2 days in jail. For what crime? They said one of the champagne operators said they had stolen, during the demonstration, they stole his motorbike. And that is what the police was concentrating on, instead of attending to the nature crime that they've reported countless times.
You've also been going around other communities, and you tell us that there are areas where people are mining close. Tell us more about that.
For that one is all across. Go to Mankranso, Kunso, close to Mankranso in the Ashanti region. Glaring, roadside mining, huge pits, left and right. Go to the Wasa towns from Donkor on the Ayamfree Road, Wasan Chinchina, glaring, mining by the roadside. Move from there to Wasa Diemra. Huge pits. Even the mining is, I don't know how, it's embedded within the town itself. Some of the buildings are even on the verge of collapse. The roadside is inundated with huge pits with excavators working 24/7. The whole town is a Galamsey site. Go to Japa, which is after Wasadi Amra. the artisanal washing bays, hundreds of them in a circle array, sitting by the main Iron Free Road, washing the residue flowing along the Iron Free Road like that. And as for Wasaba there, so that's the headquarters of Galamsey in that area. And this one is not like far away from the main road that authorities who use this road will not see. It's glaring. It's like the whole town, chiefs, opinion leaders, MCs, DCs are all into mining. It's a pure criminal holiday day for everybody, and mining is ongoing. Go to Konongo. When we brought the story of Udumase, people digging beneath homes, it has so far claimed the lives of 2 people, one pregnant woman. For the pregnant woman, her toilet came down, boom, into the pit, and she died. And they scooped her remains with an excavator. Even when they were trying to cover the pit, they mistakenly unearthed other holes beneath people's homes. When you go to Udumase Apebo also right now, you will see cracks on the ground. Some of the buildings are virtually sinking. But it's still going on. Go to Konongo, the adjoining town. Just past the station, Konongo Old Station, in the valley there, few meters from the roadside, the main Kumasi Accra Road.
Yeah. And
the digging that is going on there. The river Owere, which I come from that place, where when we were young, we used to swim in it and cut sugar canes from that place. You cannot see the Owere River anymore because it has become a pit and gullies. Then on the main Kumasi Accra Road, you get to Usino, the town before Usino. There's somebody who had pitched camp few inches from the main Kumasi Accra Road, and he was mining. When we went there to ask him, he told us that that's a community mining, and he shows us a signboard that it was commissioned by the lands minister. I sent the lands minister a text, and he replied that he doesn't remember commissioning any such community mining. But the guy is mining by the roadside at Usino. The same thing. People who are mining. And when we were filming, the guy had a cutlass behind him. And he came to confront us of our mission and why we were filming there. And when we were bold, we stood up to him and told him that we were doing our duty. He should go back and do whatever his duty is. He went back angrily. So now it's like free for all. I don't know what to say, but it's unhinged. Nobody is checking anybody. Nobody is fighting anything. Forest reserves. If I have to talk about the forest reserves, now the ones that we have entered and found serious encroachment. The Tamanya, which is a GSBA protected forest, compartments 17, 20, 74, 75 have all been cleared. They are now pits and gullies. One of them, the first one, was done by an NPP executive in the Awin municipality. I personally called him, and he did not deny. But he doesn't have any license. But his problem was me filming the site without informing him. Then subsequently, other miners also came in with excavators. And they destroyed over 10 football fields of that protected forest. There's now pits and gullies. Nobody has reclaimed that. These are people with no license, no permits. How do they even got the opportunity to enter the forest with excavators that do not look like matchboxes that you can hide in your pocket? When their excavators are entering a forest, everybody will know. Why would the Forestry Commission sit idle and watch the excavators enter the forest and start degrading for days before finally stopping them? No arrest, nothing. They allow them to cut the excavators out As we speak, those excavators that invaded the forest are sitting in villages around the area. What are they waiting for? They are waiting for things to die down, and they will regroup, re-enter, and start destroying the forest.
Okay.
Sano Nimre, when Akonta Mining invaded it in 2023, now other illegal miners have entered. Now they use pickaxe and other small implements. And Winston, you might think that that is not effective. If I show you the extent of devastation and how many trees they fall in 3 days, it will shock you.
Okay.
Now, Boy Tunnel has been invaded. Kokosia Forest Reserve in the Sefi Sairano area has been invaded. And these are the ones that we have documented. As for Pamprama Forest Reserve, the Odahon section, the Buakwa section, the Watreso section, the Kobro section, about 50% of that valuable production forest has now been turned into pits and gullies.
Erastus, wow, this is a very sad situation, but thank you for joining us with an update on these areas. We'll come back to you for more subsequently. Erastus Asare Donkor, a colleague, joining us and telling us more about the devastation that illegal mining has caused.